Let me just jump ahead now to the end. My last slide, I just want to show you that we should never neglect medicine, medical care, good prescriptions, appropriate medications for people, good geriatric care will go a long way to what we're talking about here. These little boxes and lines, because they don't cross this line here, show us that good geriatric care really does reduce the risk of nursing home admission, hospitalization, and falls. It may not reduce the risk of dying, however. That may be hardwired into us to a great degree, but at least of those people who do not die, it looks like good geriatric medicine could be a very important ally in any kind of interventional gerontology. And so to conclude, I want to talk about Obasutiyama, the mountain of discarded grandmothers. Has anybody seen the movie The Ballad of Narayama? I recommend it. It's a wonderful Japanese movie about this. It's a movie about a medieval Japanese population on the verge of starvation, which has a certain rule. When people reach old age, they have to go up to a mountain and die. They die of exposure up there or starvation. If they aren't willing to go on their own, it's the responsibility of their sons to carry the woman on his back up there. It's a very touching movie, because what do you do with the grandmom who's actually very healthy and who is a real asset to the community? And that's the story of the Ballad of Narayama. And they call that mountain Obasutiyama, which means the mountain of discarded grandmas. Well, this is what we want to avoid. It turns out even in Japan, in the 17th or 18th century, where this movie is set, this was more a story than something that really ever happened. But it shows you something about the anxiety of aging and of old age. Are we past it or not? That's the question I get to you. Most people are fearful of old age. My own mother has said things to me like, "Will you shoot me if I get to A, B, C, D, or E?" And now that I'm power of attorney for her, I have to decide what I'm going to do. But there is a certain anxiety about aging. So can we take a guess, based on the little bit I've shown you, on what aging will look like 20 or 30 years from now, maybe the year 2050? What will aging look like? You want my predictions? You can prove me wrong if you like. For sure, the first thing we know is there'll be more older people. No doubt about it. That's a certainty. And because we have aging baby boomers, there's probably going to be a more welcome society for older people than we have today. I think that's true. Will we have better health in old age? I think quite possibly. We have many, many, many new therapies. We know increasingly every week there's a paper published that shows that some surgery or some medical treatment actually works quite well in people over age 80. And we didn't know that before. We also are taking increasingly a lifespan approach to health. So my colleague Lou Culler, who I've mentioned already, who we really should bring here sometime, thinks that if you aggressively control high blood pressure across the whole lifespan, you're going to have less Alzheimer's disease in late life. Maybe he's right. We have to do those studies. I have other colleagues who think that if we can prevent depression in people, we'll probably prevent a lot of dementia in older age. We don't know if that's true or not. Okay. We do have some countervailing trends. We have an increasingly sedentary and obese population, which is at greater risk of diabetes, and diabetes is not good for the nervous system and many other aspects of our biology. And we've even seen a dip in life expectancy, sort of like we saw with HIV infection, related to increasing risk of diabetes. So I don't know what it's going to be. I think the prospects for less dementia are very strong. not just because of big pharma involvement, but because of something else, namely education. With an increasingly educated population, you have more and more older people with higher and higher cognitive ability. And we have lots of evidence across the globe now that there are big differences between old age here and old age, let's say, in India, just for that reason. Will there be less disability in old age? I would say yes. I really do think that way. Some of it will come from what we call spare parts medicine, that is knee replacements and things like that. And some of it will come from assistive technologies from our engineering friends. And some of it will come from just healthier life across the whole lifespan, delaying disability to older and older ages. Will we discover the fountain of youth? No. Thank you very much.
A couple of things to conclude. First off, you have, and I think it's pink, and everyone hates this. Every lecture you go to, people ask you to fill out a survey. There's a few questions here. I'm asking you to please take a couple of minutes before you leave, fill it out, let us know what you think, put it in the green box in the back. We do have refreshments, and Dr. Albert will be around in our lounge. I want to tell you a couple of things, and this will be brief, about Asbury. Dr. Albert mentioned Lou Culler several times. Dr. Culler was my mentor and is my mentor, and I actually got an email from him today. I started working for Dr. Culler in 1973 in epidemiology. My background is in public health. I know enough about management to be dangerous and to keep the place afloat, but I'm really all about public health, so it's not surprising that the organization has taken on a character that it's taken on. What we want to be here at Asbury, our aspiration in the marketplace is to be the gold standard in applied science to improve the aging journey. What you heard Dr. Albert talk about today, we want to be the experts in translating the research evidence into things that we do for our residents and ultimately the larger community, so that people can put life in their years, not years in their life, but live upright longer. And that's what we want to do. Now, there's two little known facts that I hope will become more known here about Asbury. First off, we have many unique academic partnerships that's going to serve our residents and community well. Dr. Albert talked about geriatricians. I got to tell you, we have two board-certified, fellowship-trained academic geriatricians here. They've been here since 1996. One is Dr. David A. Nace. The other is Dr. Roland Wright. We have geropsychiatry here and Dr. Jules Rosen. He's also an academic. So for a long time now, and it was me, frankly, and I'm not bragging, but I said I want to bring the research knowledge out of Oakland here into the South Hills. And we have excellent medical care. We're also part of medical education. We are a teaching organization, particularly in our nursing home, and we have a relationship with the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, and the geriatric intercession for the students is conducted here. I'm pleased to tell you tonight that we also signed an agreement with the Graduate School of Public Health, Steve's department. It's official. It was signed by the dean and others. I believe we're the only organization in our sphere, and certainly in the South Hills, that have done this. And what we want to do, and I'll read it to you, it's brief, we want to design, implement, and scientifically evaluate innovative new programs which are thought to offer benefits to our residents. So we want to find out what works in a scientific way and utilize that here at Asbury. So we really want to be known about evidence-based care, and we want to improve people's and at least maintain people's ability to think, move, and feel. So I'm really delighted with the turnout. I want to thank Marlon again for his generosity that made this possible. I want to thank you all for coming. I would ask that you please fill out the survey. It's short. Put it in the green box, and then please join us for refreshments, and Dr. Albert will be with us, and he'll answer your questions, whether they're politically sensitive or not. Thank you very much.